Let's start. Welcome to the webinar on building cross-functional teams. I personally want to thank each of you for making time to join to this webinar on Saturday. Thanks for your interest to learn. So let's start our webinar now. So as you all know, Facebook is a very familiar application to each of you. Facebook is just an example I have taken, but you can apply this example to any application, to any software application. Okay, so if you take a Facebook as an application, you have feature sets on the horizontal bar, that is sign up, offerings, settings, post, friend request, groups, home, message and exit. They all form the feature sets, because each vertical they exemplify or they provide a bunch of features under each feature set. For example, if you take sign up, new user registration, existing user login, forget my password, language supportability and login using mobile, these are the group of features under the feature set called sign up. Similarly, offerings is a feature set. It has bunch of features underneath. So you can apply this example to any application you take up. It can be basically any app. It can be any application. Primarily I'm taking software application as an example here. Okay, the vertical things are the list of features, whereas horizontal or top horizontal bar shows the feature sets. So if you take how we go to develop these features in a traditional way, that is as is organizations, generally these organizations are structured across components. For example, if you take any application development, they are structured horizontally, saying UX teams, they take care of the UX user design aspects. Similarly, there is another layer called middle layer. They take care of application development. Okay, the DB teams, that is the database teams, they take care of the database teams. So if you take, for example, if whatever features are feature sets, those are the features which the end user are witnessing. For example, if you want to make a change in one of the feature set, it has to cut through all these horizontal components. So multiple teams, they are working for the horizontal teams. So the either a development or modification or an incident, it has to cut across these layers for that to be resolved. So that's why in a traditional approach, the organizations are structured across these layers. There is a good advantage here is teams are having knowledge with respect to their respective components. So they have a home there. So middle layers, the teams are skilled in developing application programming interfaces. Similarly, UX people are specialized in UX development, user interface development. Similarly, database people, they are skilled in optimizing queries and coming up with optimized queries. But if you look at from the end user point of view, it acts as a hurdle, because whenever we want to make a change in one of the features, it has to cut across multiple horizontal components and it becomes a hurdle, and most of the times it reduces the speed of development. We cannot meet the market expectations if we scale up our organization in these horizontally layered component structure. That's why our cross-functional teams answer this by this. If you see a feature set here, you have UX, middle layer and database, package and development. So for a feature set, okay, we have representation from UX person, we have representation from middle layer team, we have representation from database team, and we have representation from package, deployment and network team. Together, these people can actually develop everything required for the feature set. So they can take care of everything. So they are just a form a team. So if you go through this, what is a cross-functional team? It has two aspects. The cross-functional team, as a team, it has all the skills needed to build the product. Again, I'm saying it does not mean that each member should know all the skills. No. As a team, they have all the skills required to build the product, and the very important thing is each member is willing to do more than just their own thing. So that is very, very crucial. So in cross-functional team, people won't say, I belong to a middle layer guy. I just only take care of middle layer. No, everybody wants to stretch their skill set, their contribution. Okay, that willingness is important. Okay, how much ever they stretch is next aspect. Okay, so a person in a cross-functional team has a primary skill set. Maybe he's good at middle layer development, but he is also skilled. He is also willing to work on database side or UX side or packaging side. Maybe to start with, he may just stretch to database and UX design, but later maybe two more skills. But the willingness to do more than just their own thing is important. So let's talk about building cross-functional teams. Okay, we basically go through this in a 5-layer transformation model. So this model is basically, I'm explaining to you the practical experience. We just implemented the cross-functional team in 5 levels. Okay, and at each level you require focus from team, you require focus at employee level. So you basically, when you coach teams, you need to focus on team level transformation as well as employee level transformation. So let's go through these levels in detail. Okay, level 1. So in Agile, the people who are new to Agile, I'm saying product backlog is nothing but it's a requirement collection. Okay, product backlog in Agile means it is the living document of all stories, all requirements. Okay, so because at this point in time you have UX, you have deployment and packaging, you have DB, and you have middle layer and API teams. That means today teams are organized based upon the components. That's why the product backlog is also structured in that aspect. That's why you have a product backlog for UX, product backlog for deployment and packaging, product backlog in database, and product backlog for middle layer and API teams. If you look at each of these teams here, okay, you have D and Q. D means developer, Q means QA, that is tester, quality assurance person. Okay, so if you see, everybody, they contribute to the Scrum or development model with their primary skill set. If you are a developer in Java, you continue to work as a developer in Java. If you are a QA, that is a tester you continue to work with your primary skill set. But the assumption here is you contribute to Scrum with your primary skill set. This is the as-is situation here. Okay, now what makes us to go to the level 1 to level 2 transformation? Okay, here developer and quality assurance people. Whenever I say QA, please understand a person who tester or quality assurance person. Okay, the developer and QA, both of them, we encourage them to learn other skill as their secondary skill. That means if you are a developer, we encourage those developers to learn the QA brain or QA skill set also. Okay, you may face some resistance in this process. Okay, certain people, definitely developers, if we ask them to learn the QA, you may come across a lot of resistance saying, why should I learn QA? Developer is most important skill. So that kind of resistance will come. But this is where the coaching matters a lot. You know what? Today, if you take test-driven development, developers should know what is the mindset of QA beforehand, then only they'll bring the good quality product. We have to tell them where the industry is going, where the business is growing, how it is going to help them, then that resistance can be minimized to a great extent. QA people also, certain people, when we ask them, can you please learn development as their your secondary skills? Most of them will be very happy to learn. But the kind of challenges we face is they require more time to get on to the development skill. So our business or the organization should be tolerant to provide that time to them, because if we provide that time to them, in the long run, it is going to help the team only. So with that coaching as the primary criteria, we have to encourage the developers to learn quality assurance as their secondary skills. Similarly, for quality assurance persons, quality assurance is their primary skill, but however, development is their secondary skills. So that is where we reach the level 2. So if you see level 2, the moment we reach level 2, you see here all are developers. In Agile, everybody who touches their hand on the code is called developer. There is no developer, there is no quality assurance analyst like this. Everybody is a developer. So here, the moment you get to level 2, all are developers. If you see the red bracketed area here, so those were initially quality assurance persons. Now they got labeled as developers, because with their primary skill set is quality assurance, but their secondary skill set, they may be skilled in Java or something related to UX or deployment in their own product area only, but they are willing to contribute to development. They understand it. They start with awareness and then they go to contribution level. So level 1 to level 2, generally it takes around 6 months to 8 months span of time. It's not easy. Okay, first we have to deal with the mindset, then second time we have to make sure that proper mentoring is provided. And if you implement engineering practices like pair programming, test driven development, such kind of things, it actually creates a lot of cohesion and collaboration among people. So that actually creates that helps us a lot in terms of shaping the people towards level 2. So this is what is level 2, where people are learning QA as their secondary skills, and QA learns development as their primary skills. Now let's see where we are. So we are at level 2 now. Okay. Now let's understand what it takes us to go to level 3. Okay. Some of the tools we have to understand here. We conduct a workshop, okay, called Tshape workshop. Here we'll ask people, friends, you are now developers in Java. Okay. Now we want you to understand, to learn extra development skills. Okay, what does it mean? But for example, if you are a Java developer in domain 1, maybe you wanted to learn another domain here. If you wanted to learn Java developer, then you probably want to scale up to a VC++. So it all depends on you where you want to proceed. But what we want at a team level is each person should have one primary skill and 2 secondary skills. We want people to choose. We don't want to force people. Okay, it requires a very good coach to come and train people. Okay, so we have to facilitate this workshop very, very carefully. Okay, so at the end of the day, people choose. Okay, we find people very, they will be motivated to take up this kind of a job, because if you see on the ground, generally people they are continue to do what they are doing. The moment you take out some time and ask, look, it is for your own career. Okay, what kind of secondary skills you want to learn? They actually appreciate the organization. They appreciate the organization, that the organization is working for their development. So at the end of this, we see that every person chooses, okay, I am skilled in domain 1, technology 1, and I wanted to take domain 2 and technology 3 as my secondary skills, and I wanted to set a target of 9 months, 12 months, 6 months, whatever it is. But people will come up with that particular wish list. Okay, there is another tool called employee career planning. So the outcome of the T-shaped planning is basically as is where we stand today to be where we will be. So if you see here, maybe from today's snapshot is I have three people who are primarily their primary skills on domain skill 1 and domain skill 2. Maybe after 6 months we wanted to see a target of probably 10. So it all depends upon, basically it all depends upon what employee chooses. Again, here the catch here is we want the domain skills to be picked up what is relevant to the team. Okay, people can't say I want to learn something very different from what a team expects or needs. So definitely either team or at the organization, these are the skills are important. So for these skills, we will ask them in the T-shape cross-functional exercise. So people will choose their respective domain skills and technology skills. So this is what is the career planning. So we'll get, current domain expert skill set is like this. Probably after 6 months, this is where we want to be. Similarly, similar exercise we will do for technology also. So we have people aspiration captured in terms of domain skills and technology skills. So after that exercise, we have another tool called mentor-mentee association. So for example, if 3 mentees, they wanted to learn a domain 1, we will pick up some mentor within the team. If it is not possible to have a mentor, means certain people may not be so much skilled in the team to provide mentorship to those 3 mentees. In that situation, we can probably look forward for mentors in another team, another domain, another business function. If that is also not possible, probably we'll hire a third-party coaches. Okay, so ultimately we come up with mentor-mentee association is another tool we use to transform to level 3. So what is happening from level 2 to level 3 transformation? If you see here, T-shaped planning, where everybody wants to step up, okay, and in terms of their domains and technologies, and career planning, what is a win-win situation for the employee as well as the organization, and mentor-mentee meetups and mentor-mentee cards. So at the end of mentor-mentee association, we will say, look, I am the mentor for 3 domains. So every mentor will print a card for him and will make sure that that card is stapled in front of their desktop. Similarly, mentees also will have a card saying that, I want to learn these skills in next 6 months or 12 months, like that. Okay, so that mentee card also will prepare and publish it in front of the office, the office desk. What it means is the moment you publish, it applies a lot of pressure or at least pride. So it automatically, in a co-located teams, it automatically applies some kind of motivation to achieve what they want. So the moment you publish what you want to do, definitely your goals will put positive pressure on you so that you can actually scale up. So basically in level 3, what you achieve here is you have the same component backlog, UX, that is user design, deployment, packaging and networking, and that is second product backlog. The third one is database. Product backlog 4 is middle layer and API teams. So everybody works in their own area. It's just that they are willing to do more than what they do earlier in level 2. In level 2, they used to do development and testing in their own area, but now development only, they scale up and work on an areas where they pick up as their secondary skills. Remember, in T-shape exercise, we have taken the 1 primary skill and 2 secondary skills. So in level 3, the moment you achieve level 3, people are ready to work on secondary skills. The kind of challenges we face in this transformation is people are rotated. For example, here we want to make long-lived teams due to certain business pressures or certain employee attrition or whatever you think. So we feel that people are rotated. So that is one of the concern we face. And second thing is we require a nurturing here. Certain times the mentor-mentee sessions won't happen properly. and certain times the mentor-mentee sessions, they won't happen effectively. For example, for namesake, certain people will be having the mentor-mentee sessions. So what we generally advise is the mentor-mentee sessions, we don't advise them to carry out the sessions in a specific way. They can just choose their way of learning. What we want is we will provide job-wise targets, okay, saying that, look, 3 months down the line, you must be in a position to handle a requirement, maybe a less complex requirement. So we will use job learning as the target. We don't just come up with a theoretical or some other goals. On job, what is needed, what matters to business, such things only we talk. Or we actually start with, okay, please go through some of the critical enhancements that team has done previously. Can you please explain those things? Can you reproduce it? Can you please go through them and tell us what are the learnings from that? Or then we'll step up and say, look, there is a less complex work is there, so can you please take up? And we will make sure that the skilled, primarily skilled people are stepped back, they'll be observing, and the people who are working on the secondary skills are coming forward and they'll be doing. So thereby there's an observation, there's a shadowing, thereby some confidence is built, some team nurturing happens, thereby people starts expanding their contribution beyond their primary skills. The moment they start working on it, the secondary skills start becoming primary skills in probably 6 months and down the line. So my dear friends, at this point in time, if you see, okay, we are at level 3 where people are working for their own components only. That is, UX person work for UX only, database person works for database only. It's just that an SQL person will be willing to work on Oracle. Similarly, a Java person try to work for, a .NET. Okay, so like that, people try to scale up either in terms of technology or in terms of domain. So anything is important. So this is where we stand. So let me first see any questions to me, so that you can type here any questions. Okay, I'm just taking some questions now. Okay, first point, let me go bottom up. Okay, first points. Okay, there is, this should be based, okay, spread should be based on the functionality and not on technology. I'm referring to L2. Oh yeah, see, they basically, Arun, you're right. See, basically at the end of the day, cross-functional, we are using the word cross-function in terms of meeting the objective. For example, feature-wise teams is important for you, then we take features as the goal. If we are taking, certain enterprise objectives, the cross functions cuts across HR, delivery, product development, marketing, innovation teams. Okay, so it all depends upon the overall business objective. Here I'm just taking as feature-wise development as the objective, just to walk through the example. So yeah, you're right. Let me take any other questions. Okay, this is the question so far. Yeah, Shiva Prakash is saying UX develop only half sprint work. I think for service-centric organizations, how do we adopt this, as there is always a conscience on cost? Yeah, see, at the end of the day, management commitment is very important, Rajarshi. Today, I'm telling you, this cross-functional team is the need of the hour. Okay, at the end of the session, I'm going to close it with why we need cross-functional teams. But I'm just saying that with respect to whether a service-centric organization, product organization, or operations teams also, today we need cross-functional teams. Because what is happening otherwise is we are dependent on certain core people. And if the people are sick, then our business is stuck. I have seen certain situations when some core people are stuck, then we are unable to deliver what our partners or customers expects out of us. So to get out of the particular situation, similarly for employee comfort also, today just because there is a high dependency on people are unable to take leave from the organization, even though leaves are there. from the employee, from the organization perspective, we are unable to take leave just because if I am not there in the office, there is nobody who can take care of this work. So that kind of a situation. So definitely cross-functional team is a solution not just for organization, it is for employee comfort also. It will provide certain time for employee to excel, to step up. So otherwise, if we keep doing what we are doing, we basically end up doing the same thing, and organizations won't prosper, employees won't prosper. That's why I'm telling you, Rajarshi, there is a way of developing this model for service-centric organizations also. So if we learn the context offline, probably we can come up with this kind of transformation model. Okay, so now any questions, please type in here. Maybe after 10 minutes, I'll stop and then we can take questions. Okay, I'm moving on. How to move to the level 4. Okay, so here the interesting exercises happen. That is self-team formation exercise. It's a big exercise. We call people to a spacious team room. We divide the team room into, you see here, individual places. So we have a whiteboard for them, a chart for them. So we'll say team 1, team 2, team 3, team 4, team 5. Like this, we will split. We'll put the charts with a specific, the product area concept. So this is the product area or feature set, and we will basically make the respective product owner or the product manager to come and explain why this particular product feature is important to the customers and the business. We'll ask them to explain to the people. So then we'll ask the people to go to a feature of your like. So definitely we will see 60% of the people, they actually go to a respective features. Around 30 to 40% people, we see, we need to resolve it. So basically in that situation, we'll again ask them, ask them to go and talk to the product managers to see which team they want to go. And product manager says, everybody wants to sell their own product. Certain question comes, if product owner cannot sell, why people should come to their product area? That means that product area is not important. Why are we investing there? Every product owner should be in a position to sell the features, why it is important to business, why it is important to the customers, and why it is important to the employees, and why it is important and how they wanted to innovate this particular feature set. It is very, very important. So every product owner comes and gives a sales pitch to their respective feature set. And after listening to this, people will start gradually moving to different teams. Approximately 60 to 70% of the people will go, and around 30% we have to manually resolve. That's where again coaching skill matters. Usually we don't want people managers to be available there, because if people managers are there, then what happens is there is a probability of control. So that's why we want people manager to go away. We'll ask them to come in between the breaks. Means we'll have 5 to 6 rounds of this kind of exercise. Each round starts with, the product owner comes with a sales pitch, why this respective product area is important, what is the product roadmap, and then why people should pick it up, how it is important to the business, what kind of innovations are possible. So they'll explain, and people listen, and then say, okay, now you move. So what happens is certain times people may choose from one team to another team. They swap also. Okay. Between the breaks, we'll ask the managers to come and see. But again, when the round starts, the managers will ask them just to step out, just to make sure that influence doesn't work out there. It's a very interesting exercise. It requires coaches who are well connected to the team, and it works out well. So at the end of this self-team formation exercise, we will provide business goals to each of the team, and we'll ask the team to name each of their teams. People will come up with a very good names for their own respective teams. And then from next day onwards, they are self-team formation. Now, the idea here is, given the business goals, each of the team is skilled in developing their own feature set. So we have to make sure that, each team requires representation from the needed skills. So we'll say, boss, team 1 requires 2 people from UX, 3 people from middle layer, 2 people from DB, 1 people from packaging, networking, and hardware. So only those people only can select. Because, for example, if if more number of people are coming to middle layer, no, not accepted. Which team you want to choose is your choice. But each team requires these many slots from these divergent and heterogeneous teams. That's the expectation. It's a wonderful exercise. It actually happens in, it takes usually takes 6 to 8 hours. Okay. If we handle it well, probably within 4 hours we can wrap it up. But it's a very interesting exercise. People like it. Okay. So this is what is self-team formation. So what happens here? So two things. One is self-team formation. So the key here is each team is centric towards product area now. Earlier, the product backlog or the requirements, the organizational structure was centric to components, horizontals. Now we are getting to a situation where we are forming towards, our organization is towards product area, towards the feature set. Okay. So, and their self-team formation, generally people, those who co-locates, they gel well. So team-wise issues also to the most extent may get resolved, and we also provide business goals for them. So this is where we form the cross-team formation, cross-functional teams. So if you see now, earlier our product backlog was split across UX, database, middle layer, and hardware, packaging, and networking. Now it is not like that. It's basically feature 1, feature 2, feature 3, product area wise we split the product backlog. So that on each feature or each area, each team is having representation from all people. You remember, cross-functional team has every skill set needed, and so you have the representation from all teams. And second thing is, each person is willing to do more than what they are capable of doing. So these are the two desired attributes we want for the cross-functional teams. So this is where the cross-functional teams happens here. Cross-functional teams and feature-wise product backlogs are there. Let me take some questions here. So there is Sitaram. He's saying, suppose 3 developers want to get into same team where they need only 2 developers. How do they work it out? So Sitaram, that's what I'm saying. It's a game. Okay. We will reserve the slots. Like for example, we put chairs there. Under each chair, we'll say, okay, this is a DB chair. This is a middle layer chair. This is a hardware chair. Like this, we'll put it. And only those many people have to come and occupy. It's like, our child game, run, stop. So wherever we stop, we have to, if the seat is there, we'll sit. Otherwise, we'll go out. Similarly, here, the slots required for each teams we'll decide first, and then only we'll ask them to choose. I hope I have answered it. First come, first serve. Yes, exactly. First come, first serve, and we'll have some rounds there. What is trigger point there is how well a product manager sells their own feature set. For example, I may want to take team 1 to start with, but after second round and third round, probably I may want to switch it. So it all depends upon how well the features are sold by the product managers and on the understanding of the team members also. Okay. Now next point. Arun is saying we started directly from L4 cross-functional team and feature team product backlog. Teams moved from forming, storming, norming, and performing teams. Okay. That's good. But see, here I'm sharing a model which we followed. If you have followed Arun, probably we can, what works is what works. Yeah. So third point is, let me take, okay, self-team formation exercise might work against long-lasting teams. Yeah, that's correct. Customers feel confident if the team is working together for long. If they keep changing regularly, the confidence of business takes a backseat. Yes, these are all practical challenges. Yes, see, at the end of the day, we want long-lived teams. Not necessarily on cross-functional teams, but any teams, any model you take, we want long-lived teams where team itself self-discovers innovation targets and they break their own targets and they reach to next level. That's the goal. The challenge that you're offering is applicable to all modes of development. So there is Shiva Prakash. He is saying, how do we ensure if particular team member does not have full capacity work in a sprint? Example, UI developer has only half sprint work. I think it's an operational question, Shiva Prakash. You are saying that how do we ensure if a particular team member does not have full capacity work in a sprint? Yeah, see, it all depends on how well we handle retrospectives at the end of the sprint, and also how well we handle the sprint planning. And here teams are empowered. They also need to stand up to that, number one. And number two is in sprint planning also, we have to make sure that, you know, the discussions happens properly. I think we have to work through retrospectives planning. In that way, we have to work and solve it. Okay, let me take another question. I think that's what it is. Okay, so these are the questions posted here. Let me go to the next topic. Now we are at level 4, and how do we go to level 5? Here where the challenges faced. So from level 4 to level 5, the challenges faced are conflicts. Conflicts. See, cross-functional team is a very jazzy word, okay? But internally, everybody feels that, you know, my skill is being learned by other person, so my importance may be reduced. And certain times the wavelength of the people won't match, and certain times the styles may not match. So the conflict is a natural phenomenon. So as a coach, you are prepared to handle these conflicts. So these conflicts is a must. So the best way to deal with the conflicts is to make sure we orient team towards the business target. We orient and we make sure that people are co-located. So we have to handle it. There is no mantra to handle this conflict, but, you know, case by case we need to handle. But just want to make sure that, you know, while nurturing collaboration, conflicts are the inevitable criteria. Then certain times business pressures, they won't allow certain teams to follow this cross-functional transformation. So even though at the outset we say a certain person is allocated to a specific person and he is learning so and so, but business wise they pull him out and they say you have to solve these priority tasks. Similarly, those pressures we have to handle case by case. We can't completely blame business, because to the end customers we can't say, look, we are going through a cross functional team transformation, so please wait. We can't say that. So that's why business is justified. Similarly, we have to figure out a model. For example, certain times the Scrum, 70% Scrum, 30% Kanban, probably that is one of the option where we can deal this business pressure, so that business gets what they want. At the same time, 70% bandwidth, the percentage is just relative. You can follow 60-40, 50-50, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, we say, okay, towards ad hoc work, we provide 30% bandwidth. To our regular forecasted work, we provide 70%. So there is a concept called Scrum. We can follow that. So using these kind of mechanics, we can solve, we can try to mitigate the business pressures. We can't make them zero, but, you know, business pressures are always there. But, you know, we can try to minimize it. Certain times, lack of support from mentees. You know, people start great, but they don't make up to their practices. Some discipline may be missing, or the kind of empowerment we give may be misused. So that kind of thing is there. So yeah, so we have to have mentor-mentee sessions, and we have to come up with some encouragement in terms of recognizing the good performances. Certain times on our field, we have seen instances wherein whenever a team member steps up and performs beyond his primary skill, then, you know, we used to recognize that person in all aspects, not just monetary wise, but also, you know, recognizing him in front of the team, or maybe managing director may come and appreciating him. So kind of general manager may come and appreciating him. So such kind of things we can follow. Similarly, lack of support from mentors. Certain mentors, you know, because they are senior persons and they just use themes like, I'm very busy, hence I can't take it up, kind of a thing. Yeah, at the end of the day, it requires a powerful manager, a charming manager. Managing means I'm talking people manager. So we have seen, unless you have a strong leader, okay, who can actually understand people concerns and try to unblock, this kind of exercise is not possible. And then next you want a coach. The combination of an excellent coach and an understanding manager is very, very important. When I say manager, a senior manager. So that's very important. Okay. So next point. So these are the measures we have taken from transforming from level 4 to level 5. The strong management support, setting up clear business goals, and we need a strong coach, a person who is on ground, and co-locating the team members. It strengthens the communication and breaks the barriers. And certain times we take a mentor-mentee feedback sessions. Certain times we follow a 360-degree approach, wherein without the presence of mentor, we'll call mentees and ask for a feedback, and we will not disclose the name of the person who provide the feedback, but we collate the feedback and provide to the mentor. In this way, mentor knows, this is what they're feeling about him. Similarly, across the mentors, we will take certain sessions, and we will ask them to share their challenges faced, or what kind of good things they have done, what worked well for them, what did not work well for them. Similarly, what can improve, such kind of things we can do, kind of a retrospectives across mentors. Similarly, mentees. So these are the certain measures we have taken to improvise the collaboration. So it worked well, and maybe you can also, from your context, you can also come up with more measures, but I just want to let you know the prominent measures we have taken on the ground. So ultimately, what are the tools and techniques we have used from transforming from level 4 to level 5? Nurturing and collaboration, and co-locating the team. And then in the process, when we drive people towards the business goals, we actually see the self-team discovery. Means people have to learn their potential and start breaking their own targets. We have seen people, they start with, let's assume, X, but soon in probably in 6 months time frame, they may be 3x or 6x like this. People will be, you may be surprised, people come up with certain engineering practices and they increase their productivity like anything. So self-team discovery, they learn on their own. It is the ultimate state. So basically we want a long-lived cross-functional teams where cross-team collaboration is continuously nurtured. So here if you see, the feature-wise or product area-wise product backlogs are there, and continuous improvement is the theme of this particular state. Continuous improvement. So that is what long-lived teams are cross-functional now, and cross-team collaboration is continuously nurtured. That means within the team and across the team also, across the feature teams also, we want cross-team collaboration. And so basically here we kind of adopted certain measures saying that, on a team, we want feedback on other teams. For example, in this case, if you think that feature 3 is the team on which you want feedback, and if feature 3 works close with feature 2, feature 4, feature 5, and feature 8, so we'll ask feature 3 team, guys, you please select 3 teams where you think you work close with them and who can provide feedback. So feature 3 team says, okay, I worked with 6 teams, out of which probably these 3 teams can provide a best feedback to me. So they nominate the people who can provide feedback to them. So we will take a feedback from them, and again, without disclosing the team's name, we'll provide them, what went well with feature 3 team, where feature team 3 lacked, on where improvements are needed, and what did not work for them, what kind of challenges. So they also know the kind of feedback. See, the important thing here is the feedback is not an appraisal feedback. Okay, here it is about how to improve. So when you provide feedback for their own improvement, it may not be a formal improvement, formal feedback. Okay, you may follow informal thing. The key thing here is improvisation is the key thing. So we follow certain kind of mechanisms like informal or certain times formal, depending upon the context we are in, the kind of feedback sessions, and also we come up with what kind of innovation a team has done. and how it has helped a business. Or we also come up with in saying, how come you have reduced the cycle time? Okay, and then how much incidents have come down on the features or the work done in respective product area. Okay, so and how well you could able to work well with other teams. So in terms of cycle time reduction, in terms of quality improvement, or the priority 1, priority 2, priority 3 incidents reduction, or in terms of innovations you have done, or in terms of reusables you worked, in terms of cross collaboration and the feedback from other teams. So those are the business targets we set. See, certain teams, certain times I come across a question saying that, is Agile great? See, Agile or some other methodology you want, at the end of the day, we all need to orient towards business. Okay, whether it can be done through lean methodology, waterfall methodology, Agile methodology, that's fine. At the end of the day, Agile is not a prescribed term. Agile is being flexible and move easily. That's the definition. If you go through an Oxford dictionary, you can say Agile is being flexible, adaptable, and you can able to walk and move fastly. So that's what it is. Quickly you should be able to move. So that's for that you have to be lean. Okay, if you are fat, you can't move fast. So that's why for you to be adaptable to the change and for you to be flexible. Okay, so basically what I'm trying to say here is business alignment is very, very important. Okay, certain times we come across so much explanation from team members. I have done this great, that great, and I've done this kind of thing. But at the end of the day, how it is relevant to business also they need to explain. So we need to set goals based upon what matters to business. So if you can able to traverse this business goals towards individual teams target, then definitely there will be a better alignment. So this is a continuous improvement stage. It keeps on going. So friends, where are we now? So we crossed level 1 where every team member contributes to Scrum with their primary skill set. So in level 1, you are working on your primary skill set only. But the moment you come to level 2, we basically started swapping the developer to a QA. Similarly, QA to developer with their own area. In level 3, within the same component, we try to step up in terms of learning new development skills, either in terms of development domain or in terms of technology. In level 4 is where the self-team formation happens and feature-wise, product area-wise teams are formed. Okay, and we put the goals in accordance with the business goals. Okay, and those goals, believe me, they drive a lot of motivation. They provide a lot of motivation to the team, and so that is where it is. So cross-functional team formation happens, and a product area-wise, feature-wise product backlogs are formed, and business targets are set. And then in level 5, we are long-lived cross-functional teams where cross-team collaboration is continuously nurtured. So in the form of nurturing, we come across a lot of challenges. Some of them we have explained to you, and the kind of measures we have taken to address these challenges also I have explained. So let me take questions now. There is a question from Dheeraj. How long do you think for an amateur team to come to this level? And how often these workshops like mentor-mentee should happen? See, the whole transformation, Dheeraj, certain times it may take 3 years also. It all depends upon the context to context. On an average, we think about 1.5 years it takes generally. So it may be 3 years, it may be 2 years, and certain times you may come down from level 5 to level 3 also, because certain times there will be some dropouts in the team. So in that situation, you may come down also. But it is just it's not see, even though I depicted here as a stepwise, in reality, it may be a circular also. Certain times you may step down also, but generally it takes 1.5 years to 2 years it takes. To certain times it may take 3 years also. But mentor-mentee sessions, see, in my opinion, the mentor-mentee objectives, that should span around 3 to 6 months only. See, whenever I say I want to learn a skill, that should be within 3 months to 6 months. Because beyond that, if you plan, you can't scale it. Maybe you have to slice your goals. Maybe you have to pick up only part of the goal, and every 3 months you have to show something. Otherwise, 3 to 6 months we can't meet a goal. I mean, that's not a goal. It will be just an advertisement. So that's why, in my opinion, every 3 to 6 months, we should be showing results in terms of picking up secondary skills. So for that to happen, maybe twice a week or once in a week, the mentor-mentee session should happen. So any questions you have, you can type it here. Okay, so I am moving on to the next level. So what's the need? Okay, there's a question from Khaja Sheikh. How easy or difficult it is to bring in such a transformation model, as people are reluctant to change with respect to process, role, as they wish to grow more than their primary skill for better career path. Example, developer might say, why should I do testing? How should the approach be to transformation needed? Oh, very, very good question, Khaja Sheikh. The point is, it's where the coaching is required. I mean, I can't just give a generic answer to it, but yes. It's like this. Business is changing, context is changing. So we have to explain why a change is needed and how it benefits business and how it benefits the individual. We need to have formal and informal sessions with people. Believe me, it's very easy to say. Around 60 to 70% cases we may achieve the positive results, but in 30% cases we cannot convince people because people are people, and beyond certain extent we can't. So ultimate thing is, when business takes a decision to get onto the business cross-functional teams, there are two ways out for the people. Either they should be within the team and cooperate to the change, or the change will change them. And believe me, it's not just a cross-functional team. For the matter, if we are not changing with the change will change us. So we witness this in number of cases. So the better if people realize it, the better it is for them and for the organization. So again, I'm saying to the best extent in a collaborative way, by explaining the benefits and by making sure that what are their real concerns, understand, and making sure that those are addressed formally and informally, and formal and informal session happening with the respective managers. So those things we have to make sure. Here the coach role makes a lot of sense, Khaja. So that's what I'm trying to say. So it's a very good question, but it requires, there's no direct answer to it because every context is special and unique. But then that's the key part. The coaching here, that's why I'm saying nurturing and coaching is the key part here. Okay, thanks, Khaja. Now, Radhika is saying, in practical, how was developers acceptance to learn testing skills? So, believe me, I want to ask you one thing. Let's for a scenario, for an argument's sake, let's talk about developers. How much learning they're actually making? In my opinion, first 3 to 6 months, they'll be learning, and after that they repeat. I just want to say on record that their learning stops certain extent because they tend to do some repeated tasks. So the moment you sell the skills of test-driven development, that's where the engineering practices comes. So they are forced to work with testers there. So again, I'm saying, when you say testers, you have to come up with a magnet, a business magnet like a tester. Certain people we have seen, they think like anything. We have high respect towards those testers. Certain people enjoy the trust of management, saying that if that person signs off, that is signed off. You can't get any bug on it. So that the credibility a tester has to show that role. So the moment the people work with such testers, they actually appreciate the depth of the QA role. So the moment they learn from each other, automatically happens. So the question is, it's not about pushing them. It's about every person has to perform their role in such a way that they inspire that role itself. We have seen in context weighing good people performing their role in an excellent way. They brought enormous change and charm to that role. So that's why I'm saying, the moment the developers and QA persons, they do their job properly, definitely the kind of value addition they bring to the table inspires each other. On top of it, as a coach, if you come up with test-driven development, pair programming, so certain kind of behavioral acceptance testing techniques, so like those things, if you bring to the table, that makes people to co-locate and work together. Yeah. So there is a next question. Is there any question then? Yeah, I think. Yeah, that's the explanation, Radhika. Hope you are clear. Now let me go to the next slide. What's the need? Why we should form a cross-functional teams? Friends, it improves productivity and coordination. The flexible to adapt to changing market needs. Today, market is changing and at a rapid pace. Okay, and the business requires to meet the target set before the competitor meets. So that's why our teams need to be flexible to adapt to the changing market needs. Similarly, it improves problem solving because it gives a comprehensive thought process to the team now. So earlier they were like just specific to a specific component. Now they think in 360-degree way. So that provides a good problem solving skills to them, and they can take a better decisions, and then innovation happens. So for you to be really agile, when I say agile, flexible and adapting to the change, we got to reach this stage. So without this, we are not really agile. So friends, as a final statement from my side, gone are the case where we are having a comfort of developing applications and projects in 6 months, 1 year, 2 years projects. If you see, startups are coming, and not far from now you will see we will be developing applications, apps in every 5 days. Okay, we have a lot of reusables there, and we have service oriented architecture is coming up, already it's there. So at the end of the day, in a span of 5 to 15 days, we are supposed to complete an app. And if we are there on that line, we have the business, we are relevant to the business, and we are relevant to the market. If not, we are not there. So for us to reach the to reach that state, cross-functional team formation and being part of cross-functional team or becoming cross-functional team is an inevitable target. Otherwise, we will not be relevant to future needs. Thank you.